Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel today. This is Sim Right by P. I hope everyone is well today. In today's lesson, we are going to learn how to draft a corset with cups. And now we are going to see how we are going to make use of our shoulder princess dart to achieve a corset by manipulating all our darts, okay? I'll be dropping the description on how this shoulder princess dart is constructed on the description box below. Please, if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like, share to family and friends, okay, and drop your comments and suggestions on the comment section below. So let us start. These are the border lines, and now I'm going to trace out my shoulder princess dart. So I'm making sure that this shoulder princess dart touches this line, okay, the center front line, as you can see, and it also touches the shoulder also, okay, because we are tracing it out. Now you can see I have it, the point of my shoulder at the shoulder line, and I tape. So you can see I have my tapes fastened, okay, to hold the already shoulder princess dart. So now I'm going to trace all these lines, okay. I'm going to transfer by tracing. All right, you can see I'm done tracing my shoulder princess dart on this fresh pattern paper. I did not trace the side because I'm going to replace the darts that I'm going to take, okay, so that's why I left it open, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place my vertical measurement, starting right from my shoulder. I'm going to take my vertical measurements. I have my bust point as 10 inches. I have my under bust as 13 inches. I have my half length 16 inches, then my full length. I'll repeat the same process here to get a straight line. So having done this, we have our bust point, under bust, and half length line. All right, so at this point of my bust point, I'm going to take the bust radius, okay, and if you can see, the distance between my bust point and my under bust point is 3 inches. So I'm going to move these 3 inches from the bust point all around to get my bust radius. So you can see I've moved my 3 inches bust radius. You can see how the points are there. But you can also use your compass to achieve this. By placing your compass at the bust point, then you move around to get your bust radius. This radius is going to serve as a guide, okay, to our cup, okay, to make sure that our bust is in or secured in the cup. Now I'm going to place my tape on the bust point line by the center front, and I'm going to come up by 1 inch. This is my point of 1 inch, and from that point of 1 inch, I'm going to take 0.4 inch. This is my 0.4 inch here, okay, and on this point of the under bust point, I'm going to take diagonally, I'm going to take 1.5 inch. You can see my 1. There are so many blue lines here, so I'm going to change my marker so as to make it clear for you, okay. This is the 0.4 inch I came in. Then on this point, okay, on this point I have 1.5. You can see how I'm placing my tape, and I make a mark of 1.5 inch there. Now I'm going to come over to this dart, okay. You see the dart intake of the former shoulder princess dart. I'm going to take I have it as 0.5 inch. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this 0.5 inch, which is 0.25 inch. So this is my midpoint, and from this point of my midpoint, I'm going to take 1 inch coming towards this way and 1 inch this other way. Now I'm going to connect this point, this point, this point on the under bust. Now you can see I'm done connecting those points. I have connected them to the bust point. Now you will still see the radius, okay, the bust radius dots, okay. And at this point of my bust point, because the bust is fuller by the side, we are going to add 3/4 inch. So it's either you take 0.5 inch if the person has a smaller cup, and for a bigger cup you can take 3/4 inch. So for this particular drafting, I'm going to take 0.5. okay. If you have a fuller bust, you can take 3/4. Now I'm going to connect this point and this point. Now I want to go over to the half length line. On the waistline, I'm going to take the midpoint of this dart here. I have this dart as 1.25 or 1/4, and I'm going to get the half of it, okay. This is what I have here. So I make my mark. Now from this point I make my mark. I'm going to take 1 inch coming out this way. I'm going to take 1 inch going this way. Then so at this point of the under bust, I'm going to connect this line. Now you can see I've connected my straight line. Then I'm going to connect this line back to this point, okay. Now it's time to determine how much you want your cup to be exposed, okay. Some people might want to have their cup exactly on this line, on this radius. Some might want to go up by 1/2 inch. Some might come down by 1 inch, depending on what you want. But for the purpose of this tutorial today, I'm going to maintain my bust radius point. So coming up by 3 inches, which is my actual bust radius point, at this point which I'm maintaining for my curve, I'm going to place my curve rule this way. You can see that. So you can see I'm done connecting my bust radius point to the point of 0.4 inch. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take 1 inch. I'm taking 1 inch from this point, okay, following the point of the bust radius. I'm taking 1 inch. You can see that I have my 1 inch here. So from this point of my bust point line, I'm going to come out by 0.25, okay. You can see the point of 0.25, and I came down by 1 inch. So I'm going to connect this line. I'm connecting this one inch to my 0.25 inch or 1/4 inch. So having connected this line, I'm going to form the cup on this side, okay. So I'll be placing my pattern master this way to form the cup. From the point of this 0.25, I'm going to connect my line. So having connected this line, I'm going to flip my pattern master this way, and on the point of the bust point, I'm also going to connect my line. Then I'll also use my red marker to highlight this point, okay, so that it will be obvious up. Now it's time to place my bust circumference, okay, on the bust point line, and my waist circumference on the half length line. So I have a bust circumference of 36 inches, and this 36 inches I'm dividing it by 4 because this is 1/4 of my body I'm working on, and I have 9 inches. So I'm going to place my tape on the center front, as you can see, and I'm going to take the measurement of 9 inches on the bust point. If you look at this point, this is the area I went away by 0.25 or 1/4 inch. So I'm going to replace this 1/4 of an inch, as you can see, okay, and I have my point here. Now coming over to my half length, I have a half length or round waist of 30.5. I'm going to divide 30.5 by 4, and I'm left with 7.6 inches. So on the point of this half length, I'm going to take 7.6 inches, okay. This is my 7.6, but remember I took away 2 inches here, okay. You can see that, and I'm going to replace the 2 inches here. Now coming over to the hip, I have a hip circumference. I have my hip, round hip, as 36.5. When divided by 4, I have it as 9.1. So I'm going to also place my tape on the hip line, and I'm going to make a mark of 9.1. I'm not taking away anything. You can see there's nothing taken away. No, that is here. So I'm going to connect my line. So you can see that was why I left this side. Okay, I did not trace the side because I know I'm going to replace my dart. So I'm going to place my curve rule this way. Then all right, so you can see I'm done. Okay, closing up my side. Now I'm going to connect this point. Remember, I've not closed up this cup, so I'm going to place my ruler this way to the arm. So you can see I've connected to this armhole. Well, but this connection depends on how you want it to be. Okay, some people might want to place their rule this way. Okay, you can see if I place this way, I still have some excesses here. Okay, but for this tutorial I want to take my curve this way. Okay, so I'm going to connect this line to touch this line. So I'm going to follow the same pattern I used in connecting it. Now I have my curve. Okay, you can see I have my curve now. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to work on my hip line. Okay, you know this is a corset. It will not just be as plain as this. So from my half length, I'm going to take 4 inches downwards. Okay, this is my 4 inches here, and I'm going to connect these 4 inches. So you can see how I placed my ruler. Okay, this depends on your design. It depends on what you want, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm taking my corset. So you can see the shape I want my corset to have. Okay, so that means I'm going to cut off this part. So you can see this shaded part, I'm going to cut it off. It's not part of this corset at all. I've already taken my corset length, okay, by dropping 4 inches. Then I'll connect it to the point of my center front. Okay, the corset is not going to get to the hip as I have my hip line here, not at all. Okay, so it's going to relax on your body, okay, and give you a very fine shape. Now the next thing I'm going to work on right now is to, you know, sometimes I have 2 cups here anyway. Some people might want to just cut it off and join these 2 points, 1 and 2. Sometimes you see some corset that have 3 layers, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for the demonstration of these 3 layers, I want to show you how you can create these 3 layers in case you want a 3-layer cup. Okay, if you want a 2-layer cup, you are good to go. All we need to do is to cut off through the red lines and add our seam allowances all through the line. We are adding our seam allowances of 0.5 all through this corset. Then, and also add our 0.75 or 3/4 inch by the side. So let me show you how to get the 3 layers. So I want to take 2 inches. You can also take 1 inch. Okay, so but for this tutorial I'll be taking 2 inches. You can see my 2 inches point. Then coming over here, I'm still maintaining the 3 inches, so meaning that this point is going to pass through this point, and coming over here I still have 2 inches. So whatever thing you take here, that's what you are going to take here. So you can see how I'm placing my ruler for the connection. Okay, I'm connecting this point of 3 inches to the 2 inches. Then I'm going to flip my pattern ruler this way, and I'm also going to connect back. So you can see I have my 3 layers now. So what does that mean? That means that these 2 lines are together when I'm cutting. So when I'm cutting it off, I'm going to totally separate these lines. You are going to see how I'm going to do it. Then I'll fix this back and I have this layer. So let me cut for you to see. I want you to follow how I'm cutting off this corset. Then I'm going to cut off through this my corset. Okay, you can see I've taken it off. Then I'll come to the side line. Please remember, we've not added our seam allowances. We are going now. I'm going through this point. Okay, remember I'm cutting through the red lines. Please. And I'm going to follow this red line towards this side. And remember we have a 0.4 inch here, and I'm going to cut it straight. Okay, You can see that now. Now I'm going to discard. See what I have for my corset now. So I'm going to cut off through this cup, okay, following the red lines. I'll also cut off this cup, and by the time you see I cut off these two, you will see the reason I have these two strokes. Okay, this one stroke shows that this one and this one are together when I'm going to join them, and these are in uniform. So let me cut. You can see what I have here. This can really be very confusing, so that's why you need to either label these lines, these sections, or you have a stroke like this, because by the time I cut off through this line, you will surely be confused. Okay, but because I have, you can see I have one stroke, so when I'm adding my seam allowances and stitching, I'll look at these strokes, okay, and I'll put them together. So the same thing applies to this side too. All right, so you can see that. Okay, so this is what I have now, because I want to achieve 3. Okay, this cup is 3 layers cup, okay, as you can see on the screen. So I'm going to put these two together. Okay, let me put it together for you to see. All right, lovelies, you can see I've taped these two together. Okay, 2 of them, they are now in 1. So when I'm going to stitch on my machine, I'm going to add my seam allowances, like I said, 0.5 inch all over the places, and I'm going to have this one unfold. Okay, it depends on your style anyway. Some people might want to cut it unfold, some might want to have a line, okay, and attach their boning at the center, whichever way you want. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to cut that one unfold. This will be cut on fold. Okay, please don't forget to add your seam allowances. So let us go to the back body so that you see how the back bodies is drafted. For the corset back, I have my zipper allowance here. Okay, I'm going to place my zipper here, or whatever thing you want to use, okay, for your corset at the back. Now I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder line to take my vertical measurements. Remember, I have my bust point as 10 inches. I have my although I'm done placing my armhole line and neckline, although this is not necessary for this corset for now, but I just want to show a full bodies. Okay, so the very next thing I'm going to do is to place my bust span of 7.25. I'm placing it at 3.6 at each end, divided by 2. 7.25 divided by 2, I have 3.6. 3.6. Now I'm going to connect it with a straight line. Okay, you can see that. So coming over to this, to the hip, I'm going to come up by 2 inches as I did to the front. Then coming over to the half length, I'm taking 1 inch as my dart intake. That's ½ inch this way and ½ inch this way, as you can see. So I'm going to connect this ½ inch. I'm going to connect it. So on this point, I'm going to take 0.8 inches as my dart intake on the bust line, meaning that I'm taking 0.4 this way, and I'm going to take 0.4 this way, as you can see. Then I'm going to connect this line. So you can see I have 0.8 inch for my dart here. Okay, 0.8 inch, and I connected coming up by 2 inches. You can see that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is to place my bust circumference measurement. I have a bust circumference of 36 inches. I'm going to divide it by 4 like I did in the front. So I'm placing my tape on the point of the center back, and I'll be measuring 9 inches. I'm going to replace this 0.8 inches I took away from my dart on the bust point, and I'm placing the 0.8 on this line. My round waist is 30.5 divided by 4. I have 7.6. So I'm placing my tape at the 7.6 point. Then remember, I took a dart of 1 inch. I'm going to replace the 1 inch dart. You can see that. Now my hip of 9.1. So I'm going to connect this line to this line to this line for my back. So another thing I'm going to show you now is how to contour my back. Okay, you know this is a corset and you are not going to have at your center back just a straight line. So I'm going to come in by, I'm coming in from the point. I already have my 1-inch zipper allowance, so for that reason I'm going to start from the 1-inch zipper allowance and I'm taking half an inch. So at this point I came in by 0.5 inch here, half an inch. I'm going to connect all the way to my hip and I'm going to connect all the way to my neckline. You can see how, so you can see the connection now. And remember I took away 1.5 inch here. Sorry, I took away 0.5 inch and I'm going to replace that 0.5 inch right here. Okay, please take note of that. And I'm going to reconnect this line to this 0.5 and to my hip. At this point I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch. Okay, you might decide to come down by 1 depending on how exposed you want your back corset to be. You can come down by 2, you can even come down to the under, but it depends on your choice. But for this tutorial I'm going to come down by 1.5. okay, then I'm going to connect this 1.5 all the way to the point of my bust point line. Okay. Alright guys, you can see I'm done with my corset back now. This is my back corset. Okay, so for some who want to attach a yoke, you can design any kind of yoke you have. After cutting it off, you add your seam allowances and you join, but that's not what we are doing right now. So I hope you guys understood this. Now let me cut so that you can see, then I'll place all the. So you remember that whatever I take away from the front, I'll also do that at the back for to be uniform. So from this point I added my 0.5 to replace what I took off. I'm coming down by 4 inches. I hope you remember I came down by 4 inches to get the shape of my corset. Okay, so I'm still going to pass through my rule this way. All right, you can see I'm done. Okay, creating the shape I want my corset to have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut off. Please watch where I'm cutting off. Remember this is the replacement. That's why I used a blue line to differentiate it from the original red line. And I'll cut through all the way to. Remember this is my contour line. Okay, it's not part of my corset. I'm going to cut it off. Now I'm going to cut off my dart and the excess. Okay, so this is what I have and I'm taking this off. I'm throwing it away, and this is my back corset as you can see it now, beautifully placed. All right, lovelies, you can see I'm done with my front and back corset. Now I have just a part of my back and a part of my front. Okay, but I'll be duplicating this. I'll have 2 of these in front and 2 of these at the back. Remember I'm going to cut off this on fold. This is going to be cut on fold. Okay, but it depends on your design. Like I said, some will want to have it not on fold, but in this case I'm cutting on fold. So please remember to add your seam allowances. Very, very important, okay, to avoid shortage of this corset. Okay, if you find this content helpful, please subscribe, like, share to family and friends. Drop your comments on the comment section, your suggestions as well. Turn on your notification bell to receive more videos like this. Please continue following up these videos. See you in my next video. Thank you.